The old Hollywood era, where beauty, charm, and grandeur ruled the silver screen. But beneath the glitter and glam, some legends had a different kind of star power. They were the ones whose assets were talked about just as much as their acting chops. And no, we're not just talking about the iconic costumes or the legendary roles. Today, we will look into something a little more revealing. Buckle up, because the truth behind these 10 classic stars and their famously well-endowed figures is about to be dropped like a bombshell. Number 10. Marilyn Monroe. Ah, Marilyn. The bombshell. The icon. The woman who made every man's heart race and every woman wonder, what's her secret? Her curves were the stuff of legend. And yes, that included more than just her famous hourglass figure. What most people didn't know was that Marilyn wasn't just a pretty face with killer curves. Her assets were part of her magnetic charm. Men couldn't keep their eyes off her, and women envied her perfect proportions. But don't let her soft voice fool you. Marilyn knew the power she held. Was she truly well-endowed? Some say the rumors were exaggerated. But the fact is, Marilyn's allure went beyond her physical form. Her figure was so talked about that it became a part of her persona, a symbol of sexual liberation. Men didn't just want to date her, they wanted to worship her curves. And the world, it seems, couldn't get enough. Number 9. Jane Mansfield. Move over, Marilyn. Jane Mansfield was about to show the world what real curves looked like. With a bust line that could stop traffic, she turned heads wherever she went. But don't let her dumb blonde act fool you. This woman had brains, business savvy, and more than a little self-awareness. Mansfield's assets were so famous they became a key part of her image. But what made her legendary wasn't just her physical gifts. It was how she owned them. Her infamous wardrobe malfunctions were not accidents. They were a deliberate play to keep her at the center of attention. The more you saw, the more you wanted to see. And Jane? She was more than happy to oblige. For her, being well-endowed was just another way of keeping the spotlight firmly on her. Number 8. Sophia Loren. When it comes to old-school bombshells, Sophia Loren is the epitome of elegance and allure. The Italian beauty didn't just captivate audiences with her acting. She also had a figure that made men forget their lines. Loren's voluptuous curves and seductive gaze had the world in a chokehold. But unlike some of her peers, Loren didn't need to flaunt her figure. It spoke for itself. Her curves were never hidden, but they also weren't the main event. Loren commanded attention with a smile, a look, and a presence that said, "I'm not just a pretty face, I'm the full package." And yes, that package included a well-endowed chest that made headlines. But it was her complete confidence that left the world captivated. Number 7. Mae West. Mae West was a living, breathing metaphor. Known for her risque lines and unapologetically provocative charm, she wasn't just the face of the forbidden fruit. She was the fruit. With a figure that could turn heads from a mile away, Mae's assets were not just the talk of Hollywood. They were legendary. And unlike the shy, demure stars of her time, Mae took every opportunity to flaunt her curves with the swagger of a woman who knew exactly what she was doing. "I used to be Snow White, but I drifted," she once quipped. And that drift? Well, it led her to become one of Hollywood's most celebrated and well-endowed figures. Not only was her chest a subject of fascination, but the entire package she presented, her sharp wit, her bold attitude, and her unforgettable on-screen persona, made her a force to be reckoned with. They say she was built like a brick house, and the world couldn't get enough. Number 6. Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth wasn't just a pin-up girl. She was a love goddess with curves that made every man wish they were the lucky one. Her raven hair, her stunning eyes, and, of course, her undeniable assets were a major part of what made Rita the queen of the silver screen in the 1940s. She didn't flaunt her curves. They simply were. And when she moved, they moved with her, drawing the kind of attention that had people glued to the screen, even if they had no idea who was actually in the film. Rita wasn't one to embrace vulgarity, but her well-endowed frame was a part of her allure, an allure she knew how to wield like a weapon. In an era where sexuality was often shushed, Rita was the loudest voice in the room. Her chest was the least of her powers. Her true strength lay in her ability to embody the perfect blend of mystery and desire. Number 5. Betty Grable. Betty Grable's iconic swimsuit poster turned her into a national treasure. And while her legs were the star of the show, let's not pretend her upper half was neglected. Betty's curvy frame made her a pin-up sensation, but it was her confidence in her own skin that made her stand out. She knew she had the goods, and the world knew she wasn't afraid to show them off. Her chest was big, sure, but her true gift was her ability to play the part of the all-American girl next door while simultaneously making hearts race. She was the definition of an old-school glamour queen, but don't forget, her curves played a huge role in making her America's sweetheart. Number 4. Barbara Eden. Jeannie was everything. With her exotic charm and tantalizing curves, Barbara Eden wasn't just a genie in a bottle. She was the genie every man wished for. On I Dream of Jeannie, her body was a focal point, but it wasn't just about being eye candy. Barbara had that perfect combination of seduction and innocence, a contradiction that made her an instant star. Her chest? Yeah, it definitely grabbed attention. But it was her overall presence, the way she carried herself, graceful, mysterious, yet incredibly sensual, that made her a lasting icon. At a time when TV was full of all-American blondes, Barbara Eden was the rare beauty who broke the mold. She was a force to be reckoned with, and every inch of her was on display. Number 3. Bardot Bridget. If Marilyn Monroe was America's sex symbol, then Brigitte Bardot was Europe's. Her curves were legendary, and though she became an icon for many reasons, her body was a huge part of it. With those bold, sultry eyes and a figure that could launch 1,000 ships, Brigitte was undeniably well-endowed in ways that made her the subject of many whispered conversations. She didn't shy away from it. If anything, she embraced it. Her ability to ooze sexuality, without ever overdoing it, set the stage for countless actresses to come. Brigitte's style wasn't about flaunting. It was about letting the allure speak for itself. And trust us, it spoke loudly. Number 2. Doris Day. You might know Doris Day as the all-American sweetheart, the perfect girl next door. But behind that wholesome, sweet exterior lay a woman with, well, a little more than meets the eye. Doris wasn't just the poster child for innocence. She also had a figure that had the power to captivate and fascinate, making her one of the most famous well-endowed stars of her time. Her chest wasn't the subject of constant attention, but it definitely played a part in her allure. Doris was a master of balance, combining charm, sex appeal, and a touch of something more in her performances. She never had to flash her curves for attention. Her magnetism came from her ability to remain classy while still exuding a sexuality that was undeniable. Number 1. Jane Russell. And now, the grand finale, the one who set the gold standard for well-endowed Hollywood legends. Jane Russell. It wasn't just that Jane had a chest that could launch 1,000 rumors. She had a confidence that made her the first and only to truly command attention in such a provocative way. At a time when the world was just learning what it meant to embrace curves, Jane Russell was ahead of the game. Her chest wasn't just a physical attribute. It was part of her persona. She owned it. And, my God, did the world notice. From the outlaw to gentlemen prefer blondes, Jane wasn't just a sex symbol. She was the embodiment of empowerment. The woman who proved that you could be sexy, strong, and completely in control all at once. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Stay tuned for more shocking stories coming your way. Until next time, keep the mystery alive.